Before the use of CGI, there were different useful techniques to create fantastic creatures in film, such as the use of puppets and animatronics. Before we start diving into this topic, it is important to know the definition of these words. Animatronics is the use of electronics and robotics in mechanized puppets to simulate life. They are used in all types of entertainment, not only in film, such as theme parks or museums, which makes them successful because of their sense of realism. They are usually made with the use of technologies such as motors and sensors, in order to control the limbs and body parts.
The modern era of animatronics began in 1961, when Walt Disney started developing animatronics for entertainment and film. Since then, animatronics have been used in various movies such as Jaws and E.T., which relied heavily on animatronics. Directors such as Steven Spielberg and Jim Henson have been pioneers in using animatronics in the film history. Animatronics are used in movies for different situations. For example, when a creature does not exist, the action is too risky or costly to use real actors or animals. Additionally, the use of animatronics has some advantages over CGI and stop motion. Its main advantage is that the simulated creature has a physical presence in front of the camera in real time, allowing for a more realistic feeling. The technology behind animatronics has been revolutionizing, becoming more advanced and sophisticated over the years, making the puppets more and more lifelike.
Throughout history, there have been important people that helped develop the use of animatronics in film industry that are worth mentioning. In 1907, Edwin Porter designed a mechanical bird for the film Rescue from an Eagle's Nest. Then, in 1925, Otto Hahn designed a 70-foot-long dragon for the movie Siegfried. This animatronic was able to move its tail and blade, which was very realistic at the time. Later, in 1932, the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer studio became recognized due to having one of the best special effects department. Its head of department, Arnold Gillespie, won 4 Academy Awards and was responsible for the special effects in Wizard of Oz, Ben-Hur, and Tarzan the Ape Man, which is recognized in the industry for its animatronic. Finally, 1954 was a year for big creatures. Most of them were giant mechanical ants so effective that Ralph Ayers and his VFX team were nominated for an Academy Award. Moreover, before, it was needed to have a diverse effect crew in order to bring a mechanical creature to life. Artists, sculptors, electricians, painters, and mechanics were needed to be involved. The crew would think beforehand the different mechanics to see what the movement were. By combining cables and radio control mechanisms, they were able to create an interior system of pivots which articulate the creature. Facial movements were made with motor mechanisms operated by radio control. However, later on, it was discovered that it was easier to control the puppet by fewer people, and not one person for each part of the creature. Rick Lazarine developed some of the most advanced puppeteering technology. One of them was called Waldo. This device will send electronic signals down through a cable to a large box full of zip cards. This box was created by Stuart Sif. The box allowed the adjustment of the sensitivity of the movement. This enabled the puppeteer to control up to 30 discrete movements of the creatures. This device collects the movements coming from the puppeteer's face and copies them into the creature's face. This technique is also merged with radio-controlled PCM transmitter, which sent up to 9 signals and made easier the movement for the puppeteers. There are many movies that make a great use of puppets and animatronics, making them the star of the film. 2 examples of these can be the movies The Dark Crystal and Star Wars. The Dark Crystal is a 1982 fantasy film directed by Jim Henson and Frank Oz, featuring an ensemble cast of puppets. The film is set in a fictional world called Tra, where the evil have taken control of the crystal of the truth and are using its power to maintain their rule over the planet. The puppets were designed by Brian Froud. The puppets in the Dark Crystal had an impressive level of detail and realism in their design and construction, which is why they are considered by many to be some of the most elaborate and well-crafted puppets in film history. To bring these creatures to life, the puppet maker used a variety of techniques, including hand puppet, rod puppets, and full-body costumes. The creation of these puppets was a hard process that required great skill and creativity. These were made of different materials, including foam, latex, rubber, and fiberglass, as well as mechanical parts of mechanisms to control the puppet's movement. Each puppet was created by hand with great attention paid to every detail of the character's appearance and personality. The puppeteers had then to be trained in specific movements and techniques needed to operate each character, with some requirement multiple puppeteers to control all of the different parts of the puppet. One of the most impressive aspects of the puppets in the film was their ability to convey a wide range of emotion, despite the fact that they had no facial features. Instead, the puppet relied on body language and dialogue to express their feelings. This helped to create an emotional connection between the audience and the character on screen. The lifelike movements and expression of the puppets made it easy for the viewers to empathize with the characters and become invested in their journey.
On the other hand, in the Star Wars franchise, puppets played an important role. Some memorable characters are the Jabba puppet, which was designed by sculptor Michael McCormick and built by a team of puppeteers and special effect artists. The puppet was created by the team at Industrial Light and Magic (ILM), with the assistance of puppeteer Toby Philpott. It made its first appearance in the 1983 film Return of the Jedi and has since become one of the most iconic characters in Star Wars franchise. The Jabba puppet was a massive life-size creation, measuring over 13 feet long and weighing approximately 2,000 pounds, and costed $500,000 to make. The puppet was operated by a team of 3 puppeteers who were located in the inside, controlling various aspects of the character's movements, including his head, tail, and arms. To bring Jabba to life, the puppeteers used a combination of techniques, including cable controls, animatronics, and radio control motors. The puppet also featured a complex system of bladders and pumps to create the illusion of breathing and movement in the character's skin. The body of the puppet was made from foam and latex and was mounted on a platform that allowed it to move around the set. The head of the puppet was operated by a team of puppeteers using a series of cables and levers. The Jabba puppet was so large and complex that it required its own set, which was built on a hydraulic platform that allowed it to move and rock during filming. The set was also designed to allow actors to interact with the puppet, with some scenes featuring actors like Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher standing directly next to it. First appearance in the Star Wars franchise in the 1980 film The Empire Strikes Back. In that movie, Yoda was portrayed as a small, wise, and powerful Jedi Master who lived alone in a different planet. To bring Yoda to life, the filmmakers used a puppet designed by Stuart Freeborn. It was operated by puppeteer Frank Oz, who also provided the character's unique voice. The Yoda puppet featured a number of motors and cables that allowed its facial expressions and body movements to be controlled by a team of puppeteers. It was also designed to be lightweight and easy to handle, so that Oz could move it around the set and interact with other actors in real time. Despite the limitations of the technology at the time, the Yoda puppet was a groundbreaking achievement in the field of puppetry and animatronics. It helped to make Yoda one of the most beloved characters in the Star Wars franchise, and made Frank Oz's reputation as one of the greatest puppeteers of all time. Later on, a new computer-generated version of the character was introduced, which made its first appearance in Star Wars Episode II Attack of the Clones, and later appeared in Star Wars Episode III Revenge of the Sith. It was created by Lucasfilm's Industrial Light and Magic (ILM) visual effects company using motion capture technology. The character's movements and expressions were based on Frank Oz once again. The use of CGI allowed for a greater range of motion and more expressive facial animations than with a puppet. The CGI Yoda was used in several action scenes in the prequel trilogy, where his agility and acrobatic abilities were on full display. There are several differences between the original puppet Yoda and the later CGI Yoda. First of all, the puppet Yoda is shorter and has a more wrinkled and worn appearance, while the CGI Yoda has a more smooth and polished look. The puppet Yoda movements are also limited by the practical nature of a puppetry, while the CGI Yoda has a greater flexibility and can perform more complex movements, as mentioned before, allowing him to engage in lightsaber battles and other action scenes. The puppet Yoda's facial expressions are created by manipulating the physical features of the puppet, while the CGI Yoda's expressions are more detailed and realistic. Overall, the use of CGI to create Yoda allowed for a greater range of motion and more expressive capabilities of the character, but some fans still prefer the original puppet Yoda for its iconic look and charm. It offers a physicality that CGI alone cannot always achieve and can bring some sense of magic and wonder to the film.
Baby Yoda, the popular character from the Disney series The Mandalorian, is a puppet designed by The Legacy Effects, a company that specializes in creating creatures and special effects for films and TV shows. The puppet was built using a combination of traditional puppetry techniques and modern technology, including 3D printing. Baby Yoda was operated by a team of puppeteers who control its movement and expressions in real time on set. The puppeteers used a variety of techniques to bring the character to life, including hand-operated rods and motors that control the puppet's eyes and ears. While the Baby Yoda puppet was used extensively in the first season of The Mandalorian, there were some times where CGI was used to enhance or replace the puppet. For example, in scenes where the character needed to perform a complex action, such as using the Force. Also, in some scenes where the puppet's movement needed to be precise or fluid, CGI was used. Despite the use of CGI in some scenes, the puppet remained the primary way that Baby Yoda was brought to life on the show. The combination of practical and digital effects helped to create a seamless and believable character on screen.